because I missed it last week,
Sure.
apparently.
You know what? Let's go ahead and get that out of the way now. You two just go ahead and blast them. We're live and I'm recording. I'm not trying to trick you.
Let me just check Twitch to make sure.
Okay, welcome to Warhammer 40K Iron Archipelago episode 14. We're doing a slow, delayed intro because I got two guys bogarting me here. Hey, you know what? Thanks for that resub, Grimdark James.
You're welcome.
I wonder if anybody else is going to resub real quick. Oh my god, Omar Krieg, a resub at 19 months? Thanks so much, guys. Hey, as long as we're talking about delayed intros, let me just apologize for last episode. My computer died 24 hours later. Right after we did the Stars Without Numbers, I was like, was there a problem with the drive? And I checked the drive, and I was like, oh, there is a problem with the drive. And then I was like, you know what? Why don't I check all of my drives? And while I'm at it, let's do a quick diagnostic on the computer. And then I noticed I was at 100% CPU load for no apparent reason, and also I was at 100% Celsius on all of my heat on all my cores. And I said, this motherfucker's cooked. It's done. That last power surge absolutely destroyed my PC, and it is a ghost barely clinging on. So
let me ask, what crypto were you mining?
So I got a new computer at Costco the next morning and got as many files as I could over here. I'm hoping that this recording is going well. The tests we've done so far seem to have been okay. The volume should be fine. All of the files seem to have uploaded correctly. This is the part I was worried about over here where we rotate through the character images. I wasn't sure it would path the files correctly, but it loaded all of them immediately with no issue. So here we are, Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum. In the last episode, just in case you couldn't understand everything at 1.75 times speed while also being heavily voice modulated with artificially induced grain into the footage, Velamris Quineel managed to talk himself out of a double promotion into if you fail, I'm going to turn you into a brainless servitor. This for him was a positive lateral move in his career from his point of view.
Can I just point out, servitors have brains, by the way. They're usually like rat brains or some other lower form brain.
But yeah. Lizard brain.
Okay. Yeah, otherwise there will be AI. That's not kosher.
Okay.
It's not prescribed.
But not his brain.
Yeah, not his brain. He'll be dead. Oh, what can I say about this dark comedy of office workers working for rogue trader Militant Chaderius Darkwind? James, at the end of the last episode, it was supposed to be your time, like that John Cena theme song, Your Time, but you decided to call it early because there was something going on with you. It is now your time again. The eyes of the world are upon you. Everyone else has finished all of their first mini arc goals.
Well, I have two things I need to do before we get to the Blue Ribbon Commission. One of them is speak with the missionary Lila, and the other is to speak with Rassie's handler, his educator.
Yes. You're talking about Conrad von Erner.
Yes.
Oh no. Oh no. Rassie, the most reluctant character I've played in a long time.
You tell me what order you'd like to perform those in.
Well, let's do Conrad first. That'd be a nice short one, I think.
All right. This is after Rassie has returned with his new assignment of messengers that will keep him apprised of anything that he deems a priority. I assume that it's like joining a Discord server for the first time. The messengers are pretty much constantly flooding you with information with like work stoppage on like factory line 3 on level beta 12.
The best part is you solve them just by responding with emotes, like, you know, respond.
the emoticon reacts.
Yeah.
So as you get flooded with like 12 of those an hour, you set a priority level with them for like which news is truly important for the administratum to pass along to me.
He's sitting up at his penthouse and he's at a table and there's like 9 different empty recaf cups in front of him and he's working on his 10th and he's like, all right, let's hear the next one.
There is a message from Holly asking to speak to Conrad.
I think I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go clean myself and say a prayer to the Emperor. I'll be back and you can do what you need to do until then. And he just leaves Conrad.
Okay. Conrad opens the door to the penthouse, seeing Holly there, and says, yes.
Lord Verona, just I have a moment of your time. I was hoping to pencil something in to the Lord Governor's schedule. Are you aware
I am not
of
his major domo. I am not his chief of staff, but he has briefly stepped out for a refreshing moment. If you would like, you may scribble a note onto one of these recaf containers, and he will view it when he returns.
Well, I believe that he trusts you, and you are educating him in the roles and responsibilities of his position, yes?
He doesn't say anything, but he kind of does that thing where he rolls back on his heels and stands a little bit taller. He's preening himself.
I thought that you were the best person to go to ensure that he finds the time to engage in this important station-wide activity. I'm not sure if you're aware of the Blue Ribbon Commission, which is to be held here shortly regarding the ecclesiarchy and the faithful of the Iron Archipelago.
This is the first I've heard of it.
It's the Blue Ribbon Commission has been appointed to review some members of the Ecclesiarchal Council here regarding their upcoming decisions for a number of the people of the Iron Archipelago, a group of faithful that may be turned to mission or to crusade. I think that this is something that the Lord Governor should be across, as it affects a number of the people who toil to produce the works for which he is responsible. And I wanted to simply inform you and him of the time and date, because I think that it would benefit him and the station for him to be there.
I understand. The Lord Governor has not officially introduced himself to the ecclesiarchy.
This may be a good opportunity.
You believe that we should show up to a Blue Ribbon Commission unannounced and announce the Lord Governor's presence at this commission?
I think that decisions will be made there that will greatly affect this station and its people, and that it would be remiss to not have the Lord Governor's guidance at such an activity.
And I couldn't trouble you to write this on the back of this recaf container.
I
And what he does, he puts the recaf container, again, styrofoam cup, on a silver tray, runs his hand over it like this and gestures to you with it, and then puts the tray near you.
I will certainly write it down, but I knew that you would understand the importance.
I will make sure that he sees this written on recaf container.
All right.
I would suggest you keep it to 20 words or less.
All right. I'll just write down Lord Governor. I'll make sure it's deferential. I highly recommend you attend the Blue Ribbon Commission on this day and time. It affects the whole station.
It's real tight to fit that on the side of a not Starbucks container.
No, I mean, I'm educated by the church. I'm used to writing small but flowery.
It's a small but extravagant font.
I have to tell you, I absolutely have to tell you, this is the first show I've ever heard someone brag about. I've been educated from the church. I know how to write small. Not even a show, just in general. I've never heard that brag before with that setup. Wild. Okay.
I just need to short circuit any like shenanigans by Arthur to say that Rassie couldn't attend because suddenly Conrad von Erner is dragging him somewhere else he doesn't want to be.
You thought I was gonna. You know what? I appreciate you putting the forethought into this. That wasn't on my agenda, but if it was, you've done a good job cutting me
Well,
off.
I just remember the time that you made it so that I couldn't attend both my thing and the basketball game at the same time.
That's true,
so.
yes, because it was funny for me.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to try to give boost dice to the players. And I said, if you aren't going to play in the game, you're not going to play in the game.
That's right. Now I need their boost dice.
Yeah, well, you've outmaneuvered me before I ever started maneuvering.
Do you want to do something with them before I go and see Lila?
Sorry?
Do you want to do something with these two before I go and see Lila?
Do either of you have anything you want to do?
I think Velamris is still mentally reeling from his last interaction with Goro. He may be in his personal quarters consuming alcohol and perhaps thrashing one of his conspiracy boards.
Okay.
You know what? Just because it's tidy, I'm gonna send one of my runners to go get him.
To go get Velamris?
Yeah, to go get Velamris.
Oh.
Okay. They show up and they knock on your door, but they don't stop knocking until you answer the door. Just to be clear.
There's definitely like the sounds. I don't know. Obviously, pulling pins out of a wall isn't very loud, but maybe something gets knocked over in the process. And then like a thump as a bottle is dropped, cursing, and then finally cracking the door open. What? Yes.
Master
what can I do for you?
Velamris Quineel,
Yes, that's me.
you have a summons by the Lord Governor of this colony.
Very well. Are you going to convey me there, or am I on my own to get there?
The person looks at you and says, sorry, what?
The Lord Governor wants to see me, yes?
Does he? Oh,
just said-
sorry. You're administratum. I thought you understood how this worked. We convey messages and then they're erased from our brain. I need to get back to work. Sorry to hold you up here. And then he goes and runs away.
Very well.
On foot, because they on foot everything everywhere.
Yes,
all
they
the time.
on foot everything.
Well, in that case, yeah, I guess I'm going to pick up the bottle that fell over, pick up the thing I knocked over, grab my stuff, and make my way out to wherever the Lord Governor's new place
Hotel
is.
on an upper floor. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So you absolutely get there before the runner does.
What do you do? Forget how to get there? Oh, because I'm driving.
No,
Yeah.
because you're driving. He doesn't forget how
It's
to
Johnny
get there.
Mnemonic.
Listen, I didn't make these positions in the administratum. All right, some guy 20 years ago who was like, "How can I increase the suffering in Warhammer 40K?"
And not
What would
just
be the
suffering,
most
but
fucked up thing I could do?
how do I make the administrivia more encumbering?
All right, Rassie. Conrad announces the arrival of Master Velamris Quineel.
Who is looking slightly disheveled, but still mostly has his wits about him, whatever they may be. My Lord Governor, you rang.
Come in, come on over here, please.
Oh, good. At least I don't have to kneel this time.
It's just sort of like he sighs. You see all the recap cups in front of him, and you see the stacks and stacks of parchments and stuff. I need
Do you
advice
need a
on-
snack? I think you need a snack to counter some of that caffeine.
that probably help. I need
You
help.
there. And then he points at Conrad by mistake because he's the only other person he can
He
see.
turns his head so slowly to look at you and says, "I assume that you are addressing my person, Lord Von Erner."
Apologies, my lord. I didn't realize that was you right there. I assumed it was another random person. Could we please, my lord, find somebody to bring us some, I don't know, corpse starch bars or something
That's
for the Lord Governor?
You would have the Lord Governor consume corpse starch bars?
I'll defer to the Lord Governor's judgment, but in his experience, corpse starch bars are probably better for him right now than anything else.
Look, that's not what he is here for. There's a butler for this.
The butler comes in when you hear his name and he says, "Yes, sir. That's me, your butler, Smiltheby."
I need a meal and something to drink.
Oh, you should have said
Alcoholic or
something. I was-
non-alcoholic, sir?
Alcoholic.
You
Very
should have
well.
said something. I've got like half a dozen bottles at my apartment.
Oh, but you should see what this guy comes up with. This stuff is much better.
The butler turns to you and says, "And for you, Master Quineel?"
I don't know, Lord Governor. Can I sup from your own plate?
No, you should get your own thing.
Well, I meant more like, are you providing, or should I go get my own?
Let the good man know what you want.
Burgers and beer, lots of beer.
I understand. Burgers. Our chef will search to the edge of this asteroid for a recipe for burgers. Would you like your beer on tap or in a can?
Bottled and cold.
Yes. We'll have the meal out as soon as we have acquired it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Lord Governor.
Have a seat.
Oh, hey, one of these has writing on it. Did you see this one? That looks like Holly's writing. That's not Holly's handwriting, is it?
I'll reach over and pick it up. Oh, it does.
Huh. What's it say?
I should go to a committee?
Sure.
She's interested in me going to a committee.
That sounds like a phone
this
call.
Sounds familiar.
You know
Like I
what?
should know
Email
what
her.
this is.
I feel like this is a conversation that can be done in an email.
Look, I asked you to come here because I need help coming up with a system that I can describe so that these things come in a manner that I could digest and actually do something about. But I don't speak the language. So when I'm trying to come up with a specific way to describe how to have these things delivered and organized, the message isn't getting across, or I'm not getting what I want because I don't know what to ask for here. Can you come up with a way to organize these urgent requests as they come in so that I can digest this? This is a lot to go through. And we're kidding about 100 years worth of backlog.
I can endeavor. I have to tell you, the Adeptus Administratus, whatever the heck they are not particularly pleased with me. Apparently, I have burned a few bridges. I have not been allowed to be placed on your staff.
Well,
in fact, I'm being used as a means to put a thorn into the rogue trader's side.
I'm not asking you to be on my staff. I'm asking you to speak at my administratum for me for a little bit here.
You need
I'm not sending you
translator.
there. I'm not sending you there. I'm not asking you to work with any of your other administrative
Don't call them peers.
people.
They're not my people anymore.
Sure. I'm asking you to look at what's here already and see if you can come up with a system to make this easier to go through.
Sure. Do you have some paper? I think I can start devising some sort of
there's
prioritization system.
He gestures. Oh, there's paper.
Yeah, I think he's going to start trying to figure out a way to, as messages come in, they get sorted into one of several different stacks based on, priority, level of importance, level of, or how little time there is in responding or doing something about it, and start setting up probably just a basic workflow of like, this comes here and it's got this on it, it goes over there. If it comes over here and somebody's been killed and there's the likelihood of more people being killed for no reason, we'll consider it. If it's Tyranids, it goes in that pile. He doesn't actually use that word, but
yeah, I was gonna say that would be absolutely wild to be like,
Yeah.
This is something only Imperial guards are taught.
Yeah, we're talking like if this is Xenos related, infraction, is it invasion? Is it an assault? Is it this? Is it that? And it just starts probably setting up, I don't know, like 8 or 10 different flowy points.
Would you like to make a roll on this, or are you okay with it just happening?
Well, if I don't have to roll, let's not, because I don't have
Okay.
much faith in the dice gods right now.
I just didn't know if you wanted.
Listen, I
anything
pulled
out
off
of
a big Blood Bowl win last night. Big for
Look,
me anyway. I don't want to.
Last time you rolled an astounding success and your computer blew up, Arthur. So are you willing to take
That
that
happened before he rolled that astounding success, and I was still astounded by it. I
If
thought I
he
had him
makes-
dead to rights.
If he does make and succeed at a roll, does it improve the outcome?
Yeah,
Oh,
and if he
fine.
fails, it makes it worse.
Well, this is what you were supposedly good at. Come on.
Yeah.
Listen,
I
if you want to
will
say
roll-
it just happens, it does just happen, but there will not be like a tangible bonus. Rassie will have
Well-
an organized office, but there won't be any future bonuses that he can pull out of the billfold and throw around. I'm not going to make you roll on something you're
No,
good
no,
at,
I'm
but
just thinking.
if you
So
roll,
I'm thinking. Yeah, no,
I'm
I
trying
got
to
you.
tempt you into rolling because you're
Yeah, I
doomed.
know you are.
Yeah.
I know. I know the game. I know the game. AP makes everybody roll.
You
even
know the
though he
rules,
doesn't-
and so
Yeah.
do I.
I would like to use my
Second time
plus
I made
one.
that reference.
I would like to make a +1 influence on this with the administratum, since I'm basically doing
Okay.
kind of sort of their job. Not, I should say it like that, but like I'm guiding these runners and whatnot.
Yeah, just to be
Setting
clear, you're
us all
doing
up.
your job, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Again, you're saying their job, but also it's the job you were trained to do.
Yeah. So do
Okay, I
get the
just don't
+1
want
or
you to
not?
think that like you're like, oh, I'm gonna pass the buck here. No.
No.
Okay, this is a
Despite
logic
his
roll.
previous comment, he is still administratum somewhere where, deep down where he buries it.
If you got it, evaluation.
That's under logic.
Logic, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I won't use.
You can take your
it
plus
yet.
one for
Okay.
administratomy.
Yeah, let's just roll. It's marginal
Okay.
success with that +1.
Yeah, you mean you landed on exactly 0.
Yeah.
I mean, there
No bonus
literally
anyway.
no bonus happens. You do your job.
So, out of curiosity, what was the result of your testing? I mean, I got that you were not a suitable candidate to be appointed to the administratum, but how did that turn out for you, not just for me?
Well, I'm sure the Master Ordinate would have a better description of all of this, but for the job in which I am currently slotted, or was currently slotted, was adequate or more, and potential for promotion and being able to work at higher levels was significantly degraded. That's probably about the politest way I could put it. The problem that I have with Master Ordinate is now he intends to extort the rogue trader for exorbitant fees for my services, charging him for my services at a pay grade for which I am not actually at,
Interesting.
with the intent of the rogue trader declining the deal, thus sending me back so that he can then either servitorize me or put me in some desk that never, ever, ever sees anything resembling non-artificial light. And the artificial light it receives is minimal.
So, kind of like what you were doing for Administrator Barnman?
Well, from the way he spoke and the tone of his voice, that would be a grand move to put me with him. This would be significantly lower. Needless to say, I don't think I would. Well, clearly, I won't want to go back there. But the fact that he's doing this to the rogue trader to spite both of us is a cause for concern.
Yeah.
I mean, don't act like he's scamming the rogue trader. You've told him what you thought your value to the rogue trader is. And he said, I hope he meets that or you're fucked.
Yeah. But also, Velamris has got a bit of a chip on the shoulder's not the word.
There's definitely some exaggeration from you on this part, but let's be very clear. That's not what actually happened.
Oh yeah, sure. This is definitely through Velamris's perspective.
Yes, yeah.
Also, Master Ordinate, what's his face, is now on his very small list of people that will at some point be dealt with in some way.
Barnum and Hovler? He's dead,
No,
man. Oh,
no, the other one, Garou.
He's not
And
an
I thought-
ordinate. He is a master. That is his
That's what-
official rank.
Yeah, Master Ordinate, right?
No, master is above ordinate. He is master of an entire department.
I thought you said he was a Master Ordinate.
Nope.
Maybe I misremembered.
Master, I put it in Discord for you. Adeptus Administratum Master Silas Garou.
Ah, yes. Okay. There was no Ordinate in there. That's where I screwed up. Okay.
Ordinate is one rank below master, and that's what Barnum and Hovler was.
That's how you screwed up the test. You kept putting master ordinate in it.
That checks out. That checks
The wrong
out.
person. It went one level too low.
That checks out.
Yeah, I'm looking for someone to help me with this project. A lieutenant major.
Oh, I was gonna say it would be like calling someone a major colonel for sure.
Yeah, I've seen that, and it's so fucking annoying.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we're idling at, is trying to filter through these urgent requests for stuff that Rassie thinks are urgent.
Okay, we cut back to Holly.
Right. Off to my meeting with Lila.
Lila. All right. Lila meets you in a large religious space. I think it's off of the main chapel, but in the main chapel, you can hear that a number of men are all singing some variation of the Halo 2 theme Mjolnir mix in a sort of men in a bathroom together situation, using the chamber, the chamber of the church to echo everything around.
Yeah, they've definitely installed special like Mechanicus ancient equipment to make this church sound like a bathroom for sure.
That's wild that's the conclusion you came to, but okay. That's not even remotely what I said, but all right. Let's assume the ceilings in here are lower than normal. How about that? Let's start there.
The whole church is lined with white porcelain tiles.
Ceramite tiles.
What is the acoustics on Ceramite, I wonder?
It has to be horrible, right? It's ultra dense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ultra dense,
It
definitely.
has to be
yeah.
sound absorbing as all fuck.
Yeah.
And unpainted ceramite is silver. Because that's why Grey Knights have silver armor, because they don't paint their armor.
Perfect.
Missionary, thank you for taking the time to see me. I'm looking forward to the upcoming commission. Are you?
Such a curious thing to say. You recognize the commission is there to test our faith and to determine the purity and corruption in our minds. I suppose that if you are one filled with an extreme zeal, you may look forward to such testing, but many do not. Interesting.
Oh well, I do, but I mean, perhaps that's simply the scholar upbringing in me. That such tests were not unknown to me. I have I've faced many tests. One for the Sisters of Battle, one for the Order Dialogus, one for the Order Hospitaller. Indeed, the one that I've passed was the one for my current role as a Famulus. I simply wanted to ask you, the Iron Archipelago is we are part of the Emperor's Light here. This is part of the Imperium. I know parts of the station technically are
Some
not.
would say it's the last light of the Imperium, as far away from the light of the Emperor as one can go. Now, with all of the troubles, you understand.
Indeed, I do. Although you are a missionary, and the missionary Galactica.
I am here specifically to travel beyond the Emperor's Light and carry out our mission beyond human space into whatever new realms the rogue trader can secure.
As you know, I'm currently on loan to the Darkwind trade house. A rogue trader who owns ships and travels beyond the edges of the Imperium into the void to find lost colonies of mankind.
It is upon him I place all of my hopes.
Is there something that I can do in order to? I mean, I don't exactly have the ear of the Lord Captain, but I have the ear of his followers. Perhaps there is something that I'm a member of the Ecclesiarchy first, and a representative of the Darkwind Trade Dynasty second. Surely there must be some way that I can utilize my position while still honoring the agreement that has been made to help the missionary Galaxia.
She holds her hands on her desk out with the palms up in a way that would indicate she would like you to put your hands on her desk as well.
Yeah, I'll do so. Yeah.
She takes a hold of your hands. They're very warm. And she says, "Right. We are ready to move. The people who have been in my position have been ready to move for hundreds of years. This missionary position has been filled by dozens of individuals waiting for true success beyond this canyon wave passage. We await a true colony. I do not think that there is anything you can do physically, but warfare must also be engaged in spiritually. Purify your soul, harden your armor, because faith is the only armor you need. Cry out earnestly to the Emperor so that he may know of your wishes and help guide just a little more light over here. You could even say, whoa, heaven, let your light shine down."
I will.
I appreciate both of these guys.
Good old collective soul.
I was trying to. I had soul. I couldn't. I knew there was another word. I just couldn't. I couldn't quite come up with it in my head.
Yeah.
Spiritual warfare is so important that many people neglect. Sister Holly, I've seen your record, and what I have seen of it does not reflect the tenacity you have engaged in logistical and administrative paperwork here. The passion with which you have spoken in setting up this Blue Ribbon Commission, in creating this connection with this Father Firebrand, is not reflected in your paperwork. And that is fine, because we do not judge people by their paperwork, but by their faith and by their deeds. Did not one of the 9 sons of the Emperor say, "The flesh is weak, but deeds are eternal"? And then she squeezes your hands.
Thank you. And if there's anything I can do, anything I find to do, earthly or unearthly, I will do so. To
purify yourself.
See you find the colony you seek. Right,
I thank you.
There, so.
I'll remember you in my prayers. Okay.
Right, I get up and leave.
Do we want to cut to the Blue Ribbon Commission?
Do you want to do it now? I mean, I'm happy to do it now. Or
we should take a break. You're right. We're pretty close. We're pretty close. We will take a break, and when we return, we're going to do the Blue Ribbon Commission. I guess the question is Velamris attending as well?
I do think while Velamris is there, ostensibly trying to unfuck my paperwork situation, I would have looked at the coffee cup and asked my tutor about going. His recommendation on whether or not
his recommendation is you should go because you need to introduce yourself. But he also says, one thing to be aware of, Lord Governor, is that interlocutor Holly is ambitious, controlling. I believe that she intends to use you as a pawn rather than as a king. Sorry, to use you as an imperial guardsman rather than as an emperor. No, then as a governor. No, wait, that's not a piece in chess.
The patriarch is the high piece.
Yeah, the patriarch.
And what's chess called in Warhammer? It's not chess. It's something
regicide.
else. Regicide. That's it.
Yeah.
You must be careful on the regicide board if Sister Holly is your opponent, for she would employ the rarely abused rule of en passant on you several times if she thought she could get away with it.
But would you get it wrong like my son did?
How do you get en passant wrong?
So did I tell you this? My son
No.
went to play chess with me, and he tried to en passant me, but he got it wrong. Like he just what did he thought it meant you could the pawn could take sideways.
I see.
Yeah.
Rather
What is
than
en passant? Is that
en
is that
passant is
pawn's
French for
attack?
pass. It's when you
Right.
have a pawn laterally next to a piece, you can go diagonally past it and take it as you go.
Yeah, so effectively,
Oh, okay.
the opponent's pawn has already moved past your pawn, so it'd be beside it.
Yes.
But you effectively you move diagonally so it was one space in front of you and take the pawn anyway, even though you don't enter its space.
I mean,
Okay.
I believe the legend is that Napoleon invented it because he was upset during a match.
That actually
I
kind of
don't
checks
think
out.
that is the real truth of the match, but Napoleon did some pretty
You know
weird
what? In
stuff.
Warhammer 40K, it can be canon if you like.
Sure. I mean, let's be very clear. Napoleon is absolutely a wildcat in history. This is a guy who invented canning and also was like, I don't know, putting steam engines in boats? Is that going to work out? The boat could catch fire. Same guy. Invented canning. Hated steamships. We'll be back.
You know what? He was. I'll
wait,
say this. I'll throw
Oh, I can't-
my military profession under the bar or under the car. But he was an artilleryman. If that tells you anything.
Wow. Chris Oss coming out the gate for you now, motherfucker.
He knows why I said it too.
Yeah. Before we go, we'll quickly ask a question about this commission. So, look, in terms of real life commissions I've been involved in, the way they usually work is you have like an initial hearing to establish, you know, the like what the commission's about, and then you break off and do lots of little sort of meetings, and you come back for a final, then you come back for a final hearing that
Right.
resolves the
Unfortunately, the Imperium might be saddled with a lot of paperwork, but they're not socialists enough to create subcommissions on a subcommission. Remember, the Blue Ribbon Commission is to investigate the actual thing that's already happening.
Yes.
This is the subcommission. It's not going to further subcommission itself. This is a one shot, James. We're doing it, and it's done, and we're moving on to the next thing when it's done.
Yeah, so my speech is targeted at that first hearing, like when we all stand up to talk about why we're here, sort of thing.
Good.
And I wanted to make sure that, like with most commissions, interested members of the public can join. So could I have also invited like Father Firebrand?
Oh my God! Yes, of course. Why not? Listen, my heart rate is increasing. I'm so certain there's going to be some wild ass shit right here.
It's not that bad.
Oh, okay. I guess we'll see. We'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Holly, Rassie, Velamris, Conrad von Erner, Father Firebrand are seated before a table at which sits our three most important of people, Evandriel, Lila, and D'Angelo. Behind them is a pulpit at which stands a aged and honored preacher who has not risen to the estimable ranks that his younger comrades has. But it appears that he is giving the keynote address to open the conference here. And standing next to him at a lower dais is a engine seer. I am Preacher Ishmael Flagg, and I have the honor of opening this Blue Ribbon Commission. Let me say that my staff has worked tirelessly at investigating the moral character, the fortitude, and the emotional endurance, and let us not forget the quantifiable rating of the faith of the individuals that this Blue Ribbon Commission was meant to investigate, and my staff have come today with examinations and testimonies to present to the individuals in question. But before we get to that, my staff has also prepared a nutritious soup that is more of like a gruely stew sort of combination that you can all partake of after we have had a brief sermon. I read now from the chapter on the life of Malkador the Sigillite. Unto Malkador, the Emperor said, Malkador, Malkador, check this out. Malkador, so I just found out that apparently a lemon is not naturally occurring and is a hybrid. By crossbreeding a bitter orange with Malkador, are you paying attention? A citron, which means that life never gave us lemons. Humans invented them all by ourselves. Malkador. That was a reading from the book of Malkador the Sigillite. Praise be to the name of the Emperor. And everybody just crosses themselves real quick, very Roman Catholic, and says, praise be to the Emperor. Yeah, someone make, all of the officers in the room make the sign of the Aquila, of course. Yeah. Now, there's one neat trick with your soup gruel stew that you can do. We have, in the traditional fashion of the local people of this asteroid, hollowed out a hard-crusted piece of bread after slicing it in half, and you can pour the soup into that and then sort of drink and eat the soup together. One of my brothers will demonstrate this process to you if you require it. Oh my goodness, I forgot to introduce our guest. This is Omega 1 Task Zosk. He has been smuggled here across from the port so that he may observe in a sort of cross-denominational faith with the Omnisire, who we all here respect and understand to be an avatar of the Emperor. Okay. Is there anyone who has anything they would like to say before we kick this thing off?
Raise my hand.
I see that there is someone in the audience. This is highly irregular. Is that interlocutor Holly?
Stand up. Yes, Peter. I
Yes.
would like to say a few words as we begin the commission.
Very well. Please approach the dais, Holly Van der Velt, and present yourself to the commission.
I will do so.
As this is happening, you can see D'Angelo has taken his soup and dumped it into a bread bowl and is drinking it and then eating the bread. It's basically like a sub that has been made into a soup.
I was thinking during the break that the excuse to get Velamris in here is that Velamris is ostensibly acting as my bodyguard.
Okay.
Thank you, because I was going to ask that.
They don't question when you show up. They're just like, this is open to the public. We don't need an explanation. They also don't know you're the Lord Governor when you arrive. They think you're just a random guardsman.
I was hoping that like Father Fabio might have brought some of his flock as well. Like I wanted a big public.
Did you
thing,
imply that he should?
Yeah, okay. I did definitely.
The hall is we draw back. The hall is now packed with easily 300 people, several of whom have active like candle flames or torches, and at least one of whom has like a bat that is on fire. And it's just sitting there, like holding the bat lovingly, gazing into the fight. Yes, glazing into the fame. No, gazing into the flame.
I knew you were going to say that, but hearing it just made it all the better.
Blah, blah.
Yeah, I mean, like, so Holly's not looking for violence here, by the way. So,
Okay. They didn't show up for violence. This is just how these guys roll.
Violence.
That's right.
Yeah, these
Oh, you
guys
can
are
see my
just
air
weird
quotes.
flame
Not
guys.
looking.
They're just cool flame bros, man.
And a question: so, who's actually who is reviewing the commission? So, who
The person
makes the
who was
determination?
just speaking, who is Preacher
Okay.
Ishmael Flag, his staff has investigated all of you. You notice you never got interviewed, but he says he's taken testimonies and examinations.
All right. Cool. I'll go up to the pulpit.
Okay.
And Holly pulls out some notes and puts them on the pulpit as well to speak.
So Ishmael steps down, but Omega 1 Task Zosk is still there. So, like, while you're talking, there truly is, like, a mechadendrite, like, off to your right. You know, like, it stands taller than the dude who's below you, so the entrance here is just, like, in your face.
Yeah, but he's also translating what I'm saying into binaric for any engine seers that are watching on pick feeds. So.
on the New Spheric network.
Yeah, that's right. He's got a little box in the corner that where he translates in binaric.
I'm just imagining this mechadendrite, like the what's the guy that holds the boom mic on a production set?
Oh, the
What's
best
his-
boy,
the
or the
gaffer?
grip. The grip.
The grip, yeah. I'm just imagining this is a new grip, and it's the boom mic is just hanging there, but it's actually a mechadendrite.
Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, honoured guests, Lord Governor, we have convened here today to determine the suitability of a council of individuals.
Excuse me if I could interrupt you for a moment, Interlocutor Holly. Did you just say Lord Governor?
Yes, Lord Governor Rassie von Lucht is
There
present
is
here
a
and
Lord
indicated.
Governor in attendance today.
At this point in the back, Rassie will like tip the top hat. Indeed, I am.
Okay. Now, I want you to understand that there are a bunch of people attempting to not look panicked right now as Ishmael Flag turns to, like, a 12-year-old boy and is like, inform the staff that the Lord Governor is present. Get out all of the cool stuff. Get the braziers, the incense. I want extra speakers. Get some cherubs. All right, we're going full out here. All right? Full out. Out now. Yes, the Lord Governor, who should, of course, bless us with his knowledge. Like, all of the ecclesiarchal staff here stand up and, like, give you a bow. Ishmael, who truly is pushing, like, 80, gets down on one knee to, like, bow to you and goes, "Oh, great Lord Governor. If only you had let us know of your presence. Might this lowly worm inquire as to the purpose of your visit to this humble blue ribbon commission I have organized?"
At this time, I'm not here with an intent to alter the proceedings. Consider me merely curious about the affairs happening on the station.
Very well. We will pray that you do not alter them further of your non-alterations. Sister Holly, please excuse us. We must reconvene in about 5 minutes once we have sufficient frocks brought out and banners, tapestries, the correct incense, the good stuff for the Lord Governor.
Of course,
Can
Preacher.
you
I
pause
yield
your speech exactly where you left it?
Yes, I yield the pulpit.
Very well. No, you don't have to yield the pulpit. Stand right there and don't move.
Lord Governor, perhaps we should dispense with this part and get back to the meeting at hand.
Oh, you're way past that, man.
Oh no, it's he just like leans over to you. We're past that.
Yeah.
He said, just let them do their thing.
Flying
Yep.
robot babies begin throwing roses over you.
I'm sorry. I know what a cherub is, but the way you described it. Oh my god.
The servo skull that is your inquisitorial handlers is hanging over Velamris' shoulder and just recording everything that's happening to his face. While this is going on, your soup is replaced with like a full meal. Like a full meal is carted out before all of the Blue Ribbon Commission members. Like Lala is sitting there as her soup gets taken away from her. She's like, "No, my soup." And then like a full like 5-course meal gets put in front of her, and she's like, soup. D'Angelo has truly devoured his sub and is ready for more by the time the meal arrives. Incense burners now line the walls, and the choir that we heard performing for Lila outside has come into this room now and is performing for the longest time in a bathroom fashion. When they quiet down at the end of that to like a low din, they're all humming at barbershop quartet levels to just provide an ambience as someone every 60 seconds hits a gong with a gong mallet that has an incense stick at the end, so it leaves a smoky trail every time he does it. Boom. Ishmael Flag turns to you, Sister Holly, and says, "If it is not too much trouble, might you resume your sermon from exactly the moment that you had paused it at? My deepest apologies."
Certainly. We have convened here today to determine the suitability of a council of individuals to make critical decisions regarding the faith and future of a group of people here on the Iron Archipelago. I am here to give you my impression of the situation, to tell you about me, and to talk about the esteemed members of the council. The Iron Archipelago has neither abbot nor abbess. There is no single representative of the ecclesiarchy to which the faithful of this station can turn. Instead, the people of the Iron Archipelago are blessed by a preacher, a missionary, and by a crusader. And now,
let me be very clear here. Someone in the audience laughs as if you have said a joke.
Yeah.
And then it breaks off nervously, like, "Oh, that wasn't a joke. Oh, shit."
And now I have inserted myself into this mix. Assistant Nunciate of the Adeptus Sororitas and a representative of the Darkwind Trade House. 4 individuals who all care about the fate and fate of the people of the Iron Archipelago, each with their own beliefs, each with their own directions. And yet the Imperium only ever moves in one. I wanted to come here today and tell you about how the 4 of us are able to pull our resources, our knowledge, and determine the right path for the people of the Iron Archipelago, and specifically the individuals who ascribe to the sobriquet of the wrathful righteous. After much self-examination, this is not something that my faith or duty will allow me to do. The people of this station have great faith. Here, surrounded by the black airlessness of the void, these people still feel the warmth of the God Emperor's love. They toil under the light of no sun to do their duties in his name. And when in the past there was a risk that their faith may wane, did they turn to a preacher, a missionary, or a crusader? No. They turned to this man. I'll indicate towards Father Firebrand. He is neither priest nor acolyte. The vestments of faith he carries were either wrought by himself or gifted to him by his flock. Father Firebrand has established a unity and zeal among the people that the esteemed members of this council only pray they could achieve. I have walked among the wrathful righteous. I have joined my voice to their and my ecclesiastical training to their sermons of late, and I see the love these people have for the God Emperor and the righteous hatred they have for his enemies. But what of the council? Do they not also see as I do? Would they not also walk among these people and guide their faith in line with the teachings of the cloister? Once I saw what I did, I went to see each of these doyens of the faith and spoke to them about what I had seen and what they sought for these people. First, I met with the Crusader D'Angelo. Never have I met a man of such dedication and zeal. He is a man of faith and he is a man of action. Yet his Crusader's blade has rested too long in its sheath. I saw and spoke to a man who longed to take the weapon of his faith and drive it deep into the heart of the heretic, the mutant, and the alien. I believe that this is the sort of man who should be leading faithful like the wrathful righteous into the fire of battle, not presiding over their fate within a committee. And I believe that when he looks inside, he sees the same. Next, I met with the preacher Evandriel. She is a woman that clearly understands the ecclesiarchy and how it works. Individuals do not rise to the rank of preacher without proving their ability and their faith, and so I went to her to beseech her for how we might assist the wrathful righteous in finding their purpose and bringing them fully under the light of the ecclesiarchy. Evandriel struck me bodily for my hubris and told me that the church had empowered her and not me to determine how to control the wrathful righteous. That word struck a chord with me. Control. Finally, I went to speak with the missionary Layla. Here I saw a woman whose dedication to duty would lead her willingly beyond the light of the mankind, for she knew that in doing so she would carry the torch that would extend its reach. Lila, like all great missionaries, longs to bring the word of the God Emperor to the lost colonies of man, to realize the holy dream of reunification. I saw a woman stifled by dedicated duty aboard a space station already held within the God Emperor's light, with the people already turned to the faith, and someone that wanted to go beyond this. Ladies and gentlemen of this commission, battle, control, expansion. These are all noble goals of mankind. Yet each goal is distinct enough that when wielded by a different person, they create a wheel that cannot spin. To my great sadness, I have seen this truth, and I worry that Father Firebrand and his flock have seen this too. And I fear for the future while this persists. And I cannot condone the original goal of this commission. Instead, I want to make a request. This station needs a single person of faith to rule on critical decisions like the one before us. Father Firebrand is a man of faith, but not of the church. So while his followers turn to him, he needs someone he can turn to who's been educated by the ecclesiarchy and can interpret the holy word of the God Emperor so that he and his flock may translate it into action. I urge this commission to seek one individual of the faith to provide leadership for the faithful of this station going forward and determine how best to keep the wrathful righteous on the God Emperor's holy path towards mankind's great destiny. We have a council of 3 great figures before you. Technically 4 if you count me among this council of peers. Speak with Father Firebrand and his people. Speak with the faithful of the Iron Archipelago. Speak with the servants of the council members. And speak with the Lord Governor with whom we have recently been blessed. Listen to their words, and I am sure they will help you to find the right person to guide these people into the God Emperor's holy light. Ave Imperator Domine Libera Nos.
Okay. I mean, you know I want you to make a roll, right?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. I mean, what the heck? Does this still work? Hold on. Oh, I had to do that, huh? Hold on. Did this work? Yes, here we go. I'm ready to accept your roll. Now line up all those bonuses ahead of time. You know what?
Okay.
I don't need to be surprised after I see the roll and go, ha, you failed. And then you're like, but I actually have a +5 to success.
What a callback.
I don't need Mike telling me like, oh, yeah, well, actually, Holly would have succeeded. And I go, all right, let's make that canon then.
All right, so I have 1 +1 SL from my influence, Adeptus Ministorum. 2 of the people in this group I have individual influence with. So can I just take 1 influence for those or not?
What is the end goal of this role then?
So
because my thought was that you were angling for someone to replace them. I think it's rough to convince someone to have themselves replaced. You know what I mean?
To convince somebody that they benefit more by standing down. Because in both the Angelo and Lila's case, my pitch is that they should be out doing these things rather than sitting here talking about them. I'm happy to say no. I just thought I'd ask the question.
Say yes.
Okay.
That is a reasonable argument.
Okay, I have 1 as well for ornamental robes.
Okay.
I will use my once per game faithful Imperial cult to add my willpower bonus in degree of success. That adds 3 more. So I'm at +6 SL right now.
Okay. I feel like you're definitely going to easily do this, but I do feel very justified in saying this is more difficult than an average roll by at least 1 degree.
Yeah.
I'm not saying because you're probably going to knock this one out of the park, but you should get 10+ degrees of success.
What skill would you like me to use? Presence,
I almost feel
rapport.
like leadership, because
Leadership?
you have positioned yourself. You said, if I am counted among these great.
Yeah. Look, I definitely wanted people. Holly it's angry for people to pick her without ever having asked anybody to pick her.
Yes.
So I can say I love democracy.
Yes. Yes, I understand that, Holly.
Oh boy.
I know
But you
you're
also have to
looking
promise to give back your emergency powers.
Yeah, that's right. All right, and because so the people I'm actually convincing are the people of the commission who I haven't met before. So I will make my test first off to see if my air of authority kicks in.
That is correct. You basically have to commit to convince Ishmael Flag. So
okay, so I'll do that test first. I'll just roll that test naturally.
Okay.
It fails.
Ooh, okay.
It fails. That's fine. So I don't get the bonus for that.
Horrifically.
Sure.
So I will
85 on the next one. I dare you.
Yeah, I'll spend a fate point on my leadership test as well to make it with advantage.
Oh, wow. Man's about to roll a 4.
It is difficult, plus 6 SL with advantage.
Plus 7.
7
Amazing.
degrees. Oh my god.
As you are looking at the chaos that you have caused, I didn't want to interrupt you, but when you said that you had been speaking with Evandriel and she had backhanded you, there wasn't really a reaction to that. That seemed pretty normal. When she said that it was up to her to control the Wrathful Righteous, there was definitely the gallery got a little spicy at that moment. And you're looking out at everyone. You feel like your speech has bamboozled enough people, a lot of people. There's one person you have to convince, though, and that's Ishmael Flag. And you look at this guy. This is a man who is sunsetting his career. He's about to be put out to pasture for whatever that counts for in the ecclesiarchy. Like, this he's a preacher, which is by no means a low rank, but it's also by no means a high rank. This is a middle manager in a church. And at some point during your speech, you can see this guy is speed running some calculations into how to use this. You practically feel like you can hear him going, well, if life gives you lemons, you have to make lemonade. And he's going to declare himself the new abbot based on your speech. And that was probably, that was like a -1. If you had gotten that, that would have been the reaction sort of deal. You know, on a +7, you feel that deflating out of him rather quickly. Like, he's like, nope, that plan's not gonna fly.
He can read a room? Is that what I'm hearing?
You don't get to 80 in the ecclesiarchy by not being able to read a room, for sure. It's hard to say how everyone reacts here, but certainly there is some measure of both internal thought. Like, some people are cast into, I wonder what this all means. And some people are into like, well, shit, that was really bad for me. All 3 people sitting at the table have some measure of reaction. And for Lila, it's like, oh, thank God. If someone takes this off of my hands, maybe they'll let me go somewhere. Like, maybe they'll reassign me to somewhere where I can do my job. For Evandriel, this is like, you uppity little bitch. How fucking dare you? I will physically kill you as soon as we step out of this room. Like, you could tell from the look on her face that if you and her are alone in the next 5 minutes, she will actually kill you for real, on God's. And not in Minecraft. D'Angelo is a hard read without a roll. This is a guy whose primary form of entertainment is going to the non-Imperium part of the asteroid belt and performing group genital mutilations on, whoever he can find. So this is definitely a straight up psychopath. His expression is difficult to read without a roll. But Ishmael, I mean, it's hard to say that people are going to rise up and say that you are the sole executive leader of the people here.
But I also figure that like this is not something that's going to be resolved straight away. Like, I've just encouraged the commission to talk to other people, like the governor, like the Wrathful Righteous,
I think on a +7, the opposite happens. Ishmael gestures for Zosk to stand down from his pulpit, and then he moves to the sub-pulpit beneath you and says, I think that I've heard enough here. You know, from the Book of Malkador, we've learned that life doesn't give you lemons. You have to make your own lemonade. Life gave us Holly Van der Velt. What I hear from her now is something that no examination or testimony could have ever found about her. I looked over her record for a good 3 hours, and I did not like what I saw in that record. And I would have recommended that she not be allowed to come back to this Blue Ribbon Commission. I fully intended to eject her from this process. While moving forward her idea, I think that launching a Frateris militia is rad as heck. And I fully support the Wrathful Righteous and Father Firebrand. Now, again, let me be really clear here. This guy clearly did not support Father Firebrand until about 10 seconds ago. Because it looks like if he doesn't say that, he could be killed. I think that having heard the passion with which Sister Holly has moved here, there are times in the lives of sisters where the Emperor moves through them. One does not have to be an imperial saint to receive a vision. One does not have to be anything more than a believer for the Emperor to believe in them. And I believe that something has moved Sister Holly this day, an act of pure faith. And we must re-examine at great detail and in length everything we know about her from this moment forward. Because I see in her the potential for leadership. And that is why, until this Blue Ribbon Commission has been dismissed, I will be taking solitary command of this particular abbey until such time as we can determine if Sister Holly is a suitable leader here. And if not, we will continue to look for one until such time as we have found one. With that said, I believe that our Imperial Commander, the Lord Governor, may have things to say. With this shocking turn of events, sir, is there anything you would like to say from this pulpit?
Oh, jeez. Poor Rassie.
Truly, hundreds of people are looking at you right now.
And if you go up to the pulpit, Velamris is going alongside you.
Oh, boy.
That's his place.
Yeah, yeah.
The servo skull looks from Velamris to Rassie, back to Velamris.
I feel like...
As you're sitting there, just, again, rose petals are soaring into your vision.
Rassie's been a guardsman long enough to know that when, like, an officer is called up to talk, they have to. Like, it's just a thing. So Rassie will...
This guy ain't shit, man. He can't order you around. If you have nothing to say...
he just says from the back of the room, he'll say it loudly, I am eager to hear the results of your examination.
There's a quiet, and then there's lots of like, what does that mean? Is he trying to imply something? Isn't Sister Holly one of his staff? And sorry, James, what's the thing for background of movie Raspberry?
Rhubarb cantaloupe melon.
Cantaloupe melon, rhubarb cantaloupe melon. Rhubarb cantaloupe melon. Yeah. So unless anyone has anything to change here, a very dangerous balance has been achieved. Ishmael Flag is moving to make himself the most important person in the room temporarily, while he investigates Holly a second time, seizing control of this abbey. And if Evandriel gets hands on Holly, he will kill her. And the Wrathful Righteous are truly neck-snappingly catching up from it. They're still back on Evandriel trying to control them, right? Their whole deal is that they feel like they've been forgotten by the church and they're following someone with passion. And to hear Evandriel truly be like, oh, we haven't forgotten them, they're under our thumb, is infuriating to them. And they have fire in this room with them.
Why I reread the word twice.
Father Firebrand stands up and starts a prayer circle where he puts one hand on someone's shoulder and on another shoulder and has everybody get together and put their hands. And someone puts a hand on your shoulder, Velamris, and is like, you want to join us, brother?
Normally, Velamris would be yes, but also because he's standing there in his capacity as keeping the Lord Governor alive, I think he's going to be like, I will pass this time.
Okay, someone puts a hand on the Lord Governor, and now I'm real curious what Rassie and Velamris do.
Velamris is just going to look directly at that person and be like, no.
They're smiling at you beatifically, as if they're like, oh, this is so holy, I'm touching an Imperial Governor.
I feel like as they're like starting to reach out, like Rassie will put a hand up to stop it and then walk over to Father Firebrand.
Yes.
And he will make he'll gesture like, if I am to touch a shoulder and join this, it will be with Father Firebrand.
No, Father Firebrand takes his hand off the shoulders and everyone gasps. And he kneels before you and says, I was wrong to question your faith. It was wrong to ask you to work for me. I turn my people over to you, Rassie.
We have an army!
Everybody kneels down in this room and pledges themselves to your personal service.
Rassie will look down and say, rise and let us pray together.
Okay, he rises, but he does it in a way that's like...
Rise, Darth Firebrand.
No, he rises in solo leveling style. Don't worry about it. I've made so many solo leveling jokes on Stars Without Numbers that no one has ever gotten any of them.
I don't even know what that is.
Don't worry about it. Okay. He has risen from his knees. Again, just to be clear, this is a two-part room. Like, there is a well-lit conference table / like religious discussion area where Evandriel, D'Angelo, and Lila are at. And the people that are in the smoky, like, pews area have fully taken over the discussion and have left at least two of them like, whoa, I don't know what to do here. Like, should I stand up? Would that be bad?
I'll go over and join them.
Okay, you climb down from the pulpit.
Oh, man. This is...
A servo skull now locks on you, as does the mechadendrite from Zosk.
I'll go join the faithful in their faith. You know,
okay.
if they
are you pledging yourself to the personal service of Rassie as long as he is the Imperial Governor?
Well, I think everybody seems to be. I mean, everyone's in anyway, so I'll just join in with the group. And
okay. Right.
Is everyone walking up one by one saying it, or is it just like the whole group is like
the whole group has fallen to their knees and all pledged personal service to the Imperial Governor? Yeah. Now, to be clear, they aren't pledging it to Rassie personally. They're pledging it to the office of the Imperial Governor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Is Holly just giving the impression that she is committing to?
No, as far as you can tell, that's what she's joining in and doing that. So
yeah, it's just the impression. It's just the impression that he's playing along. I got it.
She doesn't say the words, but she does the motions. Yeah,
she does raspberry, cantaloupe, melon, or whatever.
Rhubarb, cantaloupe, melon.
That's it.
Ishmael Flag dismisses the meeting.
Look, Holly, like James, will happily work for anybody I can control.
Wait a second. Why do you work with me so much, James? Ishmael dismisses the meeting someone tries to take the tray in front of D'Angelo, and he like grabs their hand and looks at them, and they just pull their hand back very slowly. Lila immediately leaves. Zosk is just standing there, turns to Flag and says, "You had promised me that I would get to say some words. This is not in keeping with our omniscience agreement." Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can hear it from across the room. Yeah.
I wonder. I think he would. Well, I mean, his whole purpose here is being the bodyguard for the governor. But Lord Governor, I wonder what the Adeptus Mechanicus would have to say about any of this. And now I'm trying to manage the governor to get the whatever. Damn it! You said his name 4 or 5 times. I can't even think of it now. But the AdMech over here.
Yeah, you're talking about Omega 1 Taxos.
Yeah. I'm trying to convince the Lord Governor to have him come over so we can hear what he might have had to say.
I understand. Holly and Velamris have shoved their hands up Rassie's puppet ass. I get it.
I definitely encourage you. We all go over and speak to the tech priest before he leaves.
Okay. He's an engine seer.
Yeah. Well,
that's a rank of tech priest.
Yes.
So.
But yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I could plainly hear that he was expecting to be able to speak to the group.
Yeah. But Flag has cut this commission short because clearly Sister Holly is on a different level than what his examinations and testimonies had.
But the audience is still here.
I wouldn't call them an audience. I would call them a cult for sure.
The cult is still here.
Yeah, the cult is here. Yeah.
But I mean, so you could either draw his attention to them, or you could go and speak to him directly. Because effectively, by him speaking to you, he's speaking to them because they've all just pledged allegiance to you. So,
I do want to walk over to the engine seer.
Okay. Lord Governor.
I overheard that you were expecting to have time for words of your own here.
People who break bargains are not well thought of.
Indeed. Were you looking to speak to the members of the committee or those that came to observe?
I had meant to speak to those who could be turned to the faith of the Omniscia.
And you had to be smuggled here. This is true? From the port?
There is a charade, a farce that is played out.
I would like to know more about that.
I am not authorized to speak on this matter. Can I direct you to our Magos?
When you return, if you would let your Magos know that
you hear a blast of static, and the familiar voice of Magos Ezekiel Sigma 4 comes through this guy's mouth.
I thought it was going to be him.
Yeah.
I have been watching you through my subordinate. If I recall, we had a deal. You have just agreed that those who do not uphold deals face a certain kind of stigma. Where is the girl?
Lord Governor, perhaps this isn't the best place with so many ears to have this conversation.
You hear a blast of static binaric come out of this engine seer's mouth. If you wish to deal rightly with my people, return to our island, where you will be judged for your mistakes. We, of course, accept the judgment of any Sector Lord Paulus Sejanus's decision to make you Imperial Governor. But there are things you may demand of my people, and there are things you may not. And you have responsibilities to us as well.
I have every intention of doing... How would you phrase this?
No, just recall, there are over 300 people listening to whatever you're about to say.
Yeah.
You've also been accused of being an oath breaker.
Yeah.
Although one could argue, accused by someone who has been banished from the station. One could argue.
Let me try to do this.
Lord Governor, perhaps we could see this man off ourselves.
How would he phrase this? Um, right now is a time of faith. If you wish to have a discussion of the time before the appointment, the governor, then at a later time, I will ensure the safety of a representative to be sent to meet me.
We do not come to you. You can come to us.
I find that most disappointing.
We don't work for you.
Then I wish this engine seer the best of luck in returning to you.
Okay. You can tell that something leaves the engine seer, and there's like a and he just blasts something in binaric, waves his hand, and you see one of the cherubs just falls out of the sky as he leaves the room.
That went well.
I suppose. But now is a time of faith. Let us enjoy a prayer.
Right. I look at you like, are you going to lead the prayer, or did you need someone else to lead the prayer?
Father Firebrand, lead us in prayer.
Now, I want to be very clear that behind all of you, you can't see him. Ishmael Flagg has clearly got another prayer sermon ready to go and is pulling it out. And when you say Father Firebrand, he deflates.
Rassie is so good at this.
Father Firebrand begins a prayer about purity of spirit burning away corruption inside the heart, and how that is the essence of the Emperor's vision, that through his pure vision, scouring corruption and greed and all things which slow down the greatest crusade of all, humans' march to supremacy. Those who stand in the way, those who do not grease the wheel, are truly the ones set aflame by such visions. I can't improv a whole sermon for a guy I didn't know was going to be here today, so you know, I don't got that in me. But he does it. He does off the cuff do a pretty good sermon that sounds a lot like "Will someone rid me of these meddling, Evandriels?"
I'll do the whole thing where, like, whenever he says something important and like pauses, I'll like repeat it. So that other people start to like sort of repeat the last two words of everything he says, like Celasta style.
Yeah, I knew Celasta was going to come up. I warned Lawson that we were about to hit that part, and I don't think he believed me. And then we got there.
Sorax.
We went to the same place. Fuck that game. How did it? The DLC quality was pretty good. We still got to finish the Ice Prism DLC or whatever. But my God, did the story quality plummet in the last third of the game? Holy shit!
I can confirm.
I mean, I guess it's better than pushing an update that shuts down global commerce.
I think to avoid death, Holly is going to try and leave with Father Firebrand and his people.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Velamris is already. I
Wow,
feel like he
what a
probably would have picked
choice.
up on the.
It's so
I think he was picked
perfect
up on the.
too. Evandro
Velamris
can't
was-
approach you without being murdered.
I think Velamris would have picked up on the daggers that were being stared
Oh
at
my
towards Holly
God.
and been like, "How do I protect them both?"
This is some real like Roman Senate shit where multiple
Oh, yeah.
people in the room want to kill each other or overthrow their power, but they're forced to work together as long as they're in this room and all looking at each other. And more importantly, as long as the daddy Lord Governor's nearby.
Look, what I
Daddy.
need her to try and kill me and have my refractor field save me. That way I can claim it was a miracle.
Okay, let's be clear. People in the ecclesiarchy know what a refractor field is.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, it's a miracle. Someone's going to be like, I don't know that a piece of equipment working as intended is a miracle.
Miracle was
I don't
that
know
he
how
had it.
low you think of the Mechanicus. Oh my God, that would be so funny. It was a miracle, and the Mechanicus engine turns towards you. Is just like, what the fuck? Wow, they got dunked on. So many people are leaving this meeting feeling real bad. Well, James, you did it. You caused chaos.
Rassie is leaving this, scratching his head like, why was I there? Like, well, why did Sister Holly ask me? I don't understand what's going on right now.
Okay. I would like to take our break here. And then you guys need to think about what you want to do next for the last part. Otherwise, we're going to push forward in time a few months. We'll be back in about 5 minutes for that last third. Well, here we are again. It's always such a pleasure. What do you guys want to do?
So look, I think that for me, I was listening to this in the break. I definitely want to spend time trying to lick spittle and butter up that particular preacher who was putting someone in charge.
Flag. That's good because
Yeah,
he wants to do the same thing with you.
Yeah, because
It's two predators circling each other trying to
It's a
figure it
mutual
out.
buttering.
I really want him to know that in the future where Holly's in charge, he has a place in that future. He has an important role.
All right. If you say that, James, there's no longer any need to make a roll because his whole plan was to get you to say that.
Yeah, but I mean. But I don't. I mean, I think that's not the scene that Holly does straight away. I think that's something that, like,
yeah,
you were talking about.
You guys have
like
months to sniff each other's butts.
Yeah, that's it.
Look, as long as your end goal is the same as his end goal, I don't think we need any rolls. If you have speeches you'd like to put out there, but as the two of you come to understand each other's positions over flowery words and committee meetings. If eventually the two of you come to the conclusion that the other person has the same goal and that both of you understand each other, then you can just come to this mutual agreement that this guy is going to go before the council and just be like, hey, this is the new abbess. I've tested her faith.
Is there any possibility I can wrangle this into an influence with him? Because that would give me enough of an influence.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Take a +1. Yep.
Yeah, in my next downtime, I can then do the action to try and consolidate my influence.
Now, let me be clear. The position this guy is looking for is one that involves a lot of self-important talking, like the main sermon giver sort of deal. You know what I mean? Yeah. The preacher in residence.
Well, look, I mean, I'll be very busy with my duties to the Darkwind trade dynasty, which means I can make the core decisions, but I need somebody to be the face of the ecclesiarchy to the people out there.
An executive role, yeah.
So, preacher, Ishmael...
Flag.
Flag. Double G?
No, single G.
Okay.
Like an object you would raise up on a pole, let go in the wind. I just saw that someone got arrested for pulling the Confederate flag over Atlanta the one that runs along the highway. He drove 3 hours out there, pulled it down. Incredible. What a giga Chad. Is there anything else anyone would like to do in the time skip?
I would like to spend time with Major Rain
Okay.
and Major Rain staff.
Yes.
For two reasons. First, I would like to make some contacts in Major Rain's command staff,
Mm-hmm.
like whoever her intel officer is and stuff like that.
Sure. They literally can't not obey your orders. Unlike the Ecclesiarchy or the Adeptus Mechanicus, they do work for you.
Yeah. So the two things I'm trying to accomplish is trying to get more contacts because I want to try to make progress towards furthering my influence.
Sure.
And I would like to see if they have intel on, like, because I would like to at some point make a concerted effort towards attacking the orcs instead of just dealing with them roaming around. I want to try to
make this next part really awkward.
Okay.
We'll come back to that. So the first part is more important to me right now. You are looking to get a +1 in what, like this Imperial Guard regiment? Like get enough contacts to get a +1 in what exactly?
I'm looking to cultivate more contacts so that I can take that action to consolidate them into more influence.
Right, but what is the consolidation going into? You know what I mean?
Militarum.
Yes, you can go ahead and do that for sure. You do meet with more than enough people to give yourself that +1 bump.
Okay.
Velamris?
I think kind of in conjunction with Rassie going and talking to the guard staff or guard command staff, I'm looking to see what more I can learn about these ships and various components of the Space Hulk in order to determine if there's any specific points in the Hulk that we need to seize control and then acquire any artifacts or other things of note.
You have heard rumors about a specific location with the sort of ancient heresy era ship located somewhere around corridor J10 where there have been several significant battles. I would like that history roll.
What is that, logic or lore?
That's I believe lore, it's lore.
I will take a fate point to put an advantage on it. Can I argue any sort of extra? Like, I know I don't have influence necessarily with the guard in that, but because I'm working through and with the governor, can I get a?
I'll give you a +1 success level for that. Sure. Okay.
Oh, come on, give me the damn.
Now, just to be clear, at this level of difficulty with no difficulty bump, you're going to need a lot of successes to get a good outcome. Otherwise, it's going to be vague room, sort of.
All right, so lore test 1 SL, challenging with advantage from a fate point.
Yeah.
And I don't get
99
shit.
Is not going to do it, brother.
I find out that the thing we're looking for is on some other star system far, far away.
You didn't roll 100.
You don't want to re-roll?
I will actually do that, and why not? Since it's the last third, so.
I'm so glad you said that.
Let's see, 1 and with advantage. Do I keep the advantage?
Yeah.
Okay. That's much better. Well, comparatively, at least. I don't know if I get much better info.
Colonel Renard, our dearly departed Colonel Renard, avoided.
I thought he was servitorized.
No, I believe he was thrown out an airlock a while back.
Maybe it was the other guy. It was anyway.
Arneman, I believe, was turned into a servitor. But
yeah, Colonel Renard was publicly executed in front of his men.
That's it.
There is an understanding from Renard that J10 is to be avoided after there was a very serious battle there. Your research comes not from the Imperial Guard. You make, I mean, it's not that you don't consult them, it's that you make the best headway when you're in the rogue trading house, in the central office. Chaderius Darkwind, his contract as a trader militant is based around the Space Hulk. He has to come back to the Hulk and land on it at least once every year. It's sort of the, you know, Davy Jones. It's part of his contract that he has to do something called Troop the Colors, which is to like invade the Space Hulk and make a good showing of it, which can make it difficult for him to go on extended campaigns. And you know that he is basically screwed right now.
Yeah, because he's running far behind.
Because he's running way behind, and the invasion has barely started last time you heard, and you haven't heard anything from Liturgical in months. It could be a real problem for him because he's going to have High Lords of Terror problems. He's going to have inquisitorial problems. And look, I know it's funny to say you guys have inquisitorial pardons. Those pardons are completely worthless if any inquisitor is just like, okay, well, I'm just going to tear them up because I'm an inquisitor and I can do whatever the fuck I want. It's nice to have, and it means you can commit all sorts of regular ass crimes, right? But it's only worthwhile until someone says it doesn't have any value.
It's only as good as it's only as good as it is good.
Yeah.
Once it's bad, it's no longer good.
Right.
So here's a thought. We take 100 suits of power armor. We have them painted in Darkwind colors. Rassie gets 100 of the Wrathful Righteous into the power armor to go invade the Space Hulk, and we try and pitch that this is this year's event.
Interesting.
Oh, this is the tripping of the colors for that. So you know,
I was thinking something.
The rogue trader has ordered his elite power armored troop into the
I was thinking something very similar. Not so much the power armor and all that, but I was definitely thinking like maybe we could do that assault on J10 or something and call that the rogue traders obligatory requirements.
So I think that based on this roll with the +2, you understand that that could be a potential reading. So the Darkwind Trading House has traditionally held it to mean that he does have to, that whoever is the head has to physically put a foot on the Space Hulk. But based on your reading here, you think you could probably sell somebody on this part. And technically the person that you need to sell for it is the Imperial Governor of the area. To report back to the High Lords of Terra. With that said, I actually hadn't finished feeding you information yet. You get diary entries, testimonies, and even some footage from gun servitors who had come back with pick captures of a truly disastrous attack on Corridor J10. So this rogue trader, Chaderius Darkwind, several years ago, went there and was betrayed by the younger sister of his navigator. So someone who's also a navigator, like midway in the investigation, like truly like shot him with her I-beam through a wall and deeply wounded him. And as the wall like went through, she did some sort of weird warpy magic stuff, and orcs came pouring through the hole that she shot through. And, you know, like these guys were setting up here for like a base camp, and they were it's a corridor. It's literally like 2 people wide. And all of a sudden, like walls start literally falling on them as orcs come barreling through the walls and attacking them. It's like a long supply train full of people who were not ready to fight just this second are getting annihilated. And he lost a huge number of staff. And it has, according to these records, it has traumatized him. Like, he now has a overwhelming hatred of greenskins that has been kind of mentioned a couple times here.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
because of this event, like the betrayal of Lady Teresia's sister has truly like set off a series of events that he no longer, like, he used to go and enjoy going, like, haha, I'm a rogue trader, let's do cool stuff. And now it's like, I fucking hate putting my foot on that Space Hulk. Like, orcs could literally come out of the walls. They're in the walls.
They're in the walls.
Just to be clear, you're laughing at this guy's like PTSD. But yeah.
No, I'm laughing.
Yeah, yes, I know, because I'm making a reference. I know, they're in the walls.
Do I get the sister's name in this information?
Yes, Benezia.
And is she alive?
Not only is she alive, she still lives in the Iron Archipelagos, but she lives in the bad place.
And do we know which navigator house she's from?
I honestly didn't have a name for Teresia's house yet.
Okay.
I
do you have
didn't
the
know
Navis
that
Primer?
you
You
would
can find
one.
one. Navis Primer has a handful of them in it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I knew to ask that question, just to be clear. There are a few that are definitely
the internet
dark.
And type in Warhammer 40K Navigator house name.
Yeah, they're usually like restricted to certain regions of space. So like the navigator houses of the collective sector would not be the same as the ones
That's a fair point, yeah.
For the Iron Archipelago, for example.
Let me say this then. I don't have that information for you. I don't want to do it off the cuff here and give you a name and then someone be like, actually, that's a house from the Ultima segmentum that serves
the Arcader would not be in that part of the galaxy.
could you say Velamris has the name?
Yes, you have the name for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's no this is a house attached to the Rogue Trader house. For sure you know who these people are.
Okay. Then I now have a new line of investigation to pursue because I'm trying to curry favor with the Rogue Trader for obvious reasons.
Okay.
So can I lead the cast in a quick out of character conversation, but game related?
Sure, go ahead.
So last session, Arthur told us we could pick a new boon for the Rogue Trader.
Ooh, here we go.
So there are 8 boons we don't currently have. Right. So to go through them quickly, we have air support, which is +1 Imperial Fleet influence. We get good quality planetary travel, and once per session we can call in a gunship for air support. We get cartographing of contacts, which is +1 Imperial Fleet influence, and we get free or discounted void travel. There's contrabandist, which is +1 infractionist influence, and once per session we can get an item of any availability at half the price, but it will be considered stolen / like illicit goods. There is Ideologue Crusader, which is +1 Adeptus Ministorum influence, and we get advantage on tests to raise armies in the God Emperor's name. Martial Training Facility, which gives us discounted training on certain skills, to do with martial skills. Opulent, which increases our pay grade by 1 step. Refined Panoply, which gives us advantage on tests to acquire armor. And Registered Trader, which is +1 Adeptus Administratum or Imperial Fleet influence, and a discount on all goods of 10% times the Rogue Trader's highest influence score. So while obviously things like Ideologue Crusader would help Holly, I think it doesn't fit because we've already seen a few cases where this Rogue Trader is happy to bend the rules. So I think saying that he's like a fervent man of the faith is not realistic. I was actually thinking in terms of like the story we've been doing, whether Registered Trader might be a good one, where we go through with the plan to give one of the things we have, probably the 5 years of service of the Infomongers Guild, to the Administratum as like, thanks for letting us keep Velamris Quineel, which then gives the Rogue Trader the +1 Adeptus Administratum influence, and we also then get the discount on goods.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Not otherwise, to be too selfish or anything.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise, like, discounted trading / increased payment grade are great, but they're just sort of like, they're just fluff things.
Yeah.
I thought this might fit with what we're doing. What do you think as well, Kain? Was there something that you particularly liked?
When I was looking at the list, I was thinking about how our Rogue Trader is militant. Yep. So I was looking at how we could improve his relationship with like one of those Navy options. But I didn't really see like a through our actions or anything we're observing way to for that to have happened.
Other than the fact we helped to replace the Navy's missing arms.
That's true.
And we kind of did that in a half-ass sort of way. Like we took like because Velamris had that one question. Well, no, hear me out.
I was terrified of failing that skill roll.
No. Well, so the reason why I say that though is because in like episode, I don't know, 4, I don't remember exactly when, but let's just say episode 4 for the sake of argument, Velamris asked Commodore Horsey name person about I can't remember the names all the time. I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Anyway, Velamris had asked about the ammo. Yeah, no. There was another one, another word that I came across the other day too. Now I can't remember it, but no. So he asked Commodore, what's her name, about the ammo, and basically made some sort of a deal with her that he never was able to follow up on because of various other things. And then you finally came back as the Imperial Governor, if I'm not mistaken, several episodes later to inquire about the ammo and resolve the ammo situation, along with
the deal was
to gain some sort of influence with her.
The deal was we needed to find the ammo, or at the very least, like hand over who was responsible for stealing it in exchange for some help in getting some munitions. And we were
complicit in that.
We killed the tunnel stakes. And we found out that our predecessors might have been part of that. Yeah. So instead,
there's no
I priority delivered ammunition to her.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that even taking Velamris out of that picture, the gifting the food to, or what the infomongers or.
Yeah, the service. I mean, the other thing about that particular talent is, or that particular boon is, that it means that the rogue trader also has now a permit to trade the goods they find outside the Imperium, inside the Imperium. So that would potentially help us get POPs legalized for sale inside the Imperium.
And then looking at it from a somewhat selfish-ish lens, like that makes us or our characters look even better. Like, not only did we do all this stuff that you wanted us to do, we did this extra thing where now any loot, treasure, whatever you find out there, you can now legally deal with it, trade it here inside the Imperium, and also now the Administratum likes you a little bit better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that one personally, even without the whole Velamris trying to weasel his way out of the Administratum, I think that one really does benefit the group and fits the story, the narrative, better than perhaps some of the other
Holly's all about us using these things for our own personal gain, which is why she encouraged Rassie to use the 5 minutes with the sector governor for his personal gain. So,
yeah.
Holly, I'm on a campaign against corruption. Also, Holly, I'm
very corrupt.
Holly's on a campaign to remove all other corruption.
Yes, because only her corruption can be.
Well, because her corruption isn't corruption.
Correct. Yeah. Her corruption is the way. This is
Holly is terrifying. I am enjoying how monstrous you have made her. I do like the registered trader thing. I do think that's really neat, and it does make sense for the options of who the patron influence can go up for. Are there other rogue traders that come through this station?
There are over 25 rogue traders stationed locally. None of them have ships. All of them have lost their ships and are basically used as brood mares or gentlemen to pass their line on in the asteroid belt.
Do any of them have any sort of assets of any kind? Note?
They still hold their deeds, and they still, to some extent, hold some minor amount of wealth. But we're talking like, they can still live like upper middle class. They can't live like rogue traders, and they truly are being so, like, you've seen advertisements on this show, and also I believe we had a commercial inserted into the show before where rogue traders were being sold off to people. Like, they truly are being used as simply vessels for someone else to have their children rise to power.
Yeah. So are there any rogue traders that might have substantial assets of any sort that could assist us in?
I mean, again, this place is the home base of a rogue trader. Like, the whole reason there's not an Imperial governor here isn't just because this place is too small. It's because this is Chaderius Darkwind's like personal domains, right?
Yeah,
he doesn't technically own it, but again, like
he owns it by possession.
Yeah, he comes back here all the time, in the same way that I think in the Coronis Expanse, like Winterscale owns certain stations. People are allowed there, but they don't like park their whole fleet outside a station. That would be uncomfortable.
That would be almost rude.
The rogue traders here are ones that don't have the funding. Like, they're supposed to be out beyond the borders doing stuff, but they don't have a ship anymore. So now they need to convince someone to marry them that has a ship, or at least enough wealth to buy one. And so their job is to strut around like peacocks and get laid. And they are miserable, by the way. These people, like, this is a bad life for them, right? Like, whether they inherited the situation from their grandfather fucking up or whether they personally got their own flagship destroyed, the people that are out there are the worst, most desperate scum of the rogue trader pool.
So let me put this out there to you guys. So I think that Holly has now like sort of really achieved one of the goals she's trying to do, which is to put herself in a place of power. I'm thinking, I mentioned before about those shows where you take something and you swap it with something else and you keep swapping until you get something bigger.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
The lawn chair into a semi truck.
That's right. Yeah. So I'd ideally like to pick one of the items we haven't used yet, which we haven't yet used. I don't know whether the Mavis auctions has already taken place and that's now expired. But we had the invitation to the auction. We've said that the planetary weather stabilization satellites. If we say we've used the 5 years of service and infomongers, then all that then leaves really is the money we had and the power which we're talking about using. But if I can work one of those things through multiple deals into a void ship, then that's probably that'd be a good long-term goal.
Ooh, I don't know
the rogue trader.
I don't know that any of these are remotely worth even the smallest void ship.
But you've got to do several steps. You got to do several steps, though. Yeah, we trade the weather satellites for.
Before you get too ambitious with that, you better let me move the storyline forward.
The sequel series will be a rogue trader series.
I was just
Holly.
looking at. I was asking about other rogue traders on the station because I was looking at the different options for registered trader of who we could give that patron influence to.
So have we settled in on registered trader? I don't need to know which faction you're doing it with, but
I think we are. We'll do it with Administratum.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
But
that's a big deal. You buy Velamris.
The next time we buy something, you'll need to let us know what his highest influence, not who it's with, what level his highest influence is.
Okay, hold on. Let me
probably get 2 because he gets 2 with Rogue Trader.
It is in Rogue Trader. He has a 2 in Rogue Trader.
Okay, so we've got 20% discount on all goods we buy.
Okay, so I mean, you discover that these people, their lifestyles are being paid for by him. It truly is nothing for him to maintain them, and they owe him. Like, if they manage to get a ship or have a child, they basically have sworn like oaths of temporary service and allyship to him for keeping them alive and safe from their enemies.
Yeah, he wants to be Lord Commodore. We get it.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to have a fleet? What's the Pirates of the Caribbean 2? You can wear the fancy hat. I'll
let him buy you the hat. Yeah.
You know what scene I'm talking about. Velamris, we're rolling back to earlier in the episode when you were looking up the history stuff in the office. And as you get your vacuum tube files, Liturgical is in the office for the first time in months, seated near you. And do you know what psychography is? Autonomic writing?
No, but I mean, psychography, not psychotic, but psycher writing is what I'm coming up with.
He starts writing on a piece of paper while also floating in the air, and ice is forming on your desk. And you notice that he is writing a message for you. He holds the message towards you. His eyes he doesn't have eyes, that's right. You can see that his head is like back, so he's not even looking at you with his psychic vision. And he's holding up a placard that looks to be written in someone else's hand that says, Velamris Quineel, if you're there, I need you now.
Liturgical? Who's?
After a few seconds, he drops what he's holding and picks up. He's like trying to grab truly anything that he can write on. But again, his head is back like this. He doesn't appear to like see what's going on around him.
Yeah, I'll grab a pen and some paper or something for him to write on.
Okay. He continues writing, and it says, I am not going to be able to make it back. Invasion delayed. I have consulted a witch, and she has indicated that the Space Hulk will depart soon. I need you to fill out the most important document of your life, Velamris. You must write a petition to the High Lords of Terra on my behalf immediately, explaining the situation and decrying that I am not responsible for not being on the Space Hulk when the year ends, because it will be in warp space.
I think Velamris's wheels are well, first off, his head is spinning. His wheels start spinning a moment later, because he's already been considering, if we go on the station or on the Space Hulk in his stead, will that count for his obligations?
Liturgical falls to the ground, and you hear a truly sickening crunch as some bone in his body breaks.
Shit. Is anybody else there with me, or is it just me?
It's just you.
Wonderful.
You see a little rat pop his head, a little rat man pop his head, and Grapsis goes, Grapsis?
Yeah, here, help me. We need to get him up and get him some Medicaid.
Comes over. He's like a little tiny half-sized rat man, and he starts shaking.
He's not gonna be able to lift shit, is he?
I want to imagine now that he's the same size as the little gopher dude in the Acolyte.
Oh God, that's really tiny. Yeah. Also, I don't like that guy.
No one likes that guy. He's fucking evil.
Yeah.
I mean, on the flip side, you might not need help. Liturgical is a small, frail old man.
This is true. I do definitely want to try to get him.
This 100% needs help, though. This dude is still much larger.
Oh no, I definitely want him to help me. I wasn't gonna have him do all the lifting, but also
so you get the upper torso, and he picks the boots up, and as you drag him, he keeps the boots from scratching the floor on the way.
Yeah. I need to move him to someplace.
Okay. You run with Liturgical's limp body into the hallway, and one of the security guards goes, "Oh, that again? Medicaid's down on the 3rd floor."
Thanks. And
all right, I tell you what, I'm gonna go with you. You see this guy, like, self-importantly, he's like banging a nightstick on the wall. He's like, "Psyker coming through! Psyker coming through! We got a live one here, boys!" Like, people who are in the corridor, you could see someone just like rhubarb cantaloupe melon, like, oh, so here's this coming, and like takes his pile of papers and like steps aside, goes into his office and goes, "It's never gonna work for me. I can't make it." Wow, James, you think that he's a Pokemon? That's what you think Grapsis is?
Pokemon?
He's just a weird mutant dude, man.
He only speaks his own name.
He could be DJ Khaled. You're not saying DJ Khaled's a Pokemon, are you?
I mean, maybe he is.
Incredible. What disrespect towards DJ Khaled.
I have no idea. I don't listen to him. Anyway,
this is my favorite DJ Khaled fact. He used to be called like Muslim Attack or something. That was his rap name, and he debuted right before 9/11. I was like, fuck it, I'm DJ Khaled now. It was bad. His name was bad.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get Liturgical some aid, and then at some point we're gonna have to talk with the rest of the crew here and figure this out, because my first thought is, I don't know what time of the year it is, but getting anything to the High Lords of Terra from out here is going to take probably years.
Sure.
Short of having a super powerful psyker doing some really crazy blood sugar sex magic.
Right, but if it's not backdated correctly, he'll be fucked.
Yeah, right. The other option too is wondering again, the validity of whether or not we can do something in his stead.
Also
and that
true. You could make that case, but either way, no matter which argument you're doing, you still have to make the case to the High Lords of Terra on his behalf. You have to write it as if you were him, sign it as if you were him, and
That
then
sounds
send it to
suspiciously
them.
like forgery.
This doesn't it? And yet you've been
Yeah.
ordered to do it. And the
Yeah.
other question is, you legitimately could go there, but you know that at any given moment, a witch has predicted that it's going to start disappearing. Now, just to be clear, it takes a while for these Space Hulk detransitions. The other thing to note is that if you don't tell anyone, the entire local economy is going to collapse. The whole
Yeah.
reason for the existence of this colony is the Space Hulk. So if you don't tell anyone, it will truly destroy this area.
And of course, the only one I could tell, short of these two, is currently unconscious with broken bones.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
one
definitely
bone.
we definitely need to get some orcs and bring them back onto the station so that Pop's business can continue.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Pops
He's got his
has
claws.
orcs. They have
Okay.
food
They
stock.
have their
to start
own.
with.
They have their own fungal stores.
They could grow the business. They just need more space.
Literally grow the business.
They
Yeah.
have
So
a
I'm
little
gonna get.
hollowed out storeroom in the back of an asteroid. You know what I mean? Like if they had space, they could expand the business very quickly. Safely? No, that's a different question. Quickly, yes.
So get liturgical some aid, and then I'll get this information to the other two, and start. We need to start brainstorming, coming up with a plan. And I'm wondering if we can pull off both, get this letter off to the High Lords, and at the same time make our own
Excellent.
assault, as it were.
What I want from you, Omar, is I want you to be the group leader on the stand-up in the afternoon. You've called Holly and Rassie into the office. You are now responsible with briefing both of them on what's happened and laying out a plan of action for them and asking for their suggestions. This is the office part of Dark Office Comedy right here. In this moment, I need you to run a meeting.
Is this when I am now the assistant manager, not as opposed to the assistant to the
You're
The
manager?
assistant to the manager.
I am the assistant manager for the moment. Yeah, so he will at the stand up.
Rassie shows up on time. It will go to the break room and get a recap for each of us.
Okay.
And then we'll sit down and just sort of look a little confused.
Sister Holly,
yes,
Lord Governor, we have a situation at hand. It appears as though we have made contact, or rather, contact has been made with Lord Captain. He has stated that the Space Hulk is imminently going to be disappearing into the warp, as predicted by a space witch, and has charged me, because of this new information, to contact the High Lords of Terra to excuse his absence, or rather his inability to meet his contractual obligations by trooping the colors on the Space Hulk, because it won't be here by the end of the year, and neither will he. My thoughts are getting this information to the High Lords of Terra on the appropriate documentation and as timely as humanly possible, as well as wondering if we can make some sort of effort on our own to troop the colors, make a presence on the Space Hulk, and call that good for the Lord Commander, or excuse me, Lord Captain.
Okay. This is wild enough that I know that you are not jesting with us.
No, I am incapable of such extensive pranks. I'm the guy that takes your toilet paper away. That's about as good as it gets.
How did you receive this message?
Liturgical apparently had a psychic connection established while he was here earlier today, yesterday, whatever the timeline is.
It's like an hour ago.
Yeah. In this seance, for lack of a better word, he became injured, and I've had to remove him to the local Medicaid facility on level 3.
Was he conscious?
Not at the time.
We need
He may
some-
not have. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lord Governor. I defer.
We need some kind of conscious confirmation from him that that was intended to happen and it wasn't an attack on liturgical.
Do I have a piece of paper with? I still have the handwritten notes from the psychic seance connection thingy, right? AP.
Yeah, you still they're lying on the floor. Yeah, you pick them up.
Yeah, I have these. It's not Liturgical's handwriting. I assume these are the Lord Captain's handwriting.
The major demo could verify that quite easily.
If liturgical is still unconscious, I think that would be.
I mean, if you looked at them suspiciously, they look kind of like if the Lord Captain was using a psyker's hand to write it out and send it as part of a message, and then the person who received it was also floating in the air menacingly. If all of those things occurred and you squinted, it could be the Lord Captain.
If you hold it at the right angle in the right light.
I'm just going to tell you, there's no roll anyone can do to determine whether this writing is legitimate or not. It was written by someone whose head was snapped back with a marker.
Yeah. But I don't know how else to explain it, either in character or even to not much better.
I mean, one thing to note is that liturgical is, or
he's
was
registered.
At least, powerful enough to know who's contacting him, right? Like, this wasn't just a random message from someone trying to pretend to be the Lord Commander. There's a handshaking process when it's sent, and he, you have to decrypt the message, and this was his attempt to decrypt it was automatic writing.
Right.
So our understanding of this process would lead us to believe that
the Lord Cap could be legitimate. Yeah.
Okay.
As far as and Velamris will say, as far as I'm concerned, as I witnessed it happen, this does appear to be legitimate, short of talking to Liturgical once he wakes up. Given the time sensitivity, we need to come up with a plan pretty quick, I think. We don't know when the ship is, or when the Space Hulk is going to disappear. It is imminent. That's all I know.
So there's a couple of really big points here to consider. When the Space Hulk goes, it's going to be catastrophic, not just financially, but I mean physically. It's physically attached to the Iron Archipelago. There are seals and
literal chains,
pressurization. Parts of the Iron Archipelago have been built around maintaining the presence.
Its gravity is what holds the asteroids in a ring around it.
Yeah, and the other thing is that ships don't just fade into the warp. They open a warp portal, they traverse into the portal, and then the portal closes. So its actual departure, if it doesn't move away from the rest of the archipelago first, could be disastrous for the structure and the people here. So, which does present us an opportunity for the rogue trader to be the savior of so many people when such a disaster occurs. We don't need to necessarily tell anybody just yet, but just keep in mind that that's going to be a problem when the time comes. Something that we probably want to prepare ourselves and the rest of this organization for, so that Darkwind's resources aren't diminished by the impending disaster.
That Hulk is the only Hulk that I have ever known personally, and I learned that they existed when I got here. So, is there somebody we could talk to about?
It's worth pointing out that everything I've described about warp travel is how Imperial warp engines work. We don't know whether when that thing leaves, it's using some other sort of technology to enter the warp, which might happen differently.
Is this? I don't know. Like, is this a sort of thing where? I guess the question is, what kind of warning will we have that it's imminent? Is this sort of a
short of a warp portal opening outside the front window? I'm sure
there are ways to monitor things like power on it, for example, and look for something powering up.
Another reason for us to go onto the Space Hulk itself, I think.
Yeah, so for example, you're saying that somebody predicted that this was going to traverse, it was going to leave, which Correct. Means there must already that there are some sort of signs, whether those signs are physical or not. Somehow, the process has already begun.
That is my understanding, yes.
Yeah.
I think we need to mount an expedition into the Hulk to determine overall situation. What's being powered up? what's there that maybe we can interfere with to prevent it or even mitigate?
I mean, if a ship in the Hulk is going to be the catalyst of this
There's a
traversal
triple
into
knock
the war-
outside the door as you start speaking. There's a pause and then another triple knock. A pause and another triple knock.
All right, Sheldon, calm down.
All right, with this information needs to stay between us for now. Let's put a pause on
Agreed.
this for a second. I'll go
I'm
over to
reaching
the
for
door.
my. Well, no, I feel like we're probably pretty safe here, so I'm not going to be reaching for my auto pistol.
You
and
open
my
the door.
Robes.
It's one of your administratum ciphers, the messengers. He hands you a piece of paper and then leaves.
I'll look at the paper.
It is a message that has just arrived from the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. It is addressed by Sector Lord Aulus Sejanus, relieving you of your duties as Lord Governor.
That's going to cause problems, but I don't know that yet.
Who? Oh yeah. So have you told us yet?
That it's effective immediately, yeah?
It is effective immediately. It does, however, include a promotion for you. You are promoted immediately to the rank of lieutenant, subject to your attendance to whatever schooling can be found in order to teach you the ins and outs of it. Based on your exemplary performance,
You have to go to OCS now.
you
Congratulations.
do have to go to some form of OCS at your leisure when you are not assigned to the rogue trader's duties.
Who else has seen
And
this message?
Is just so that Rassie knows how to be in uniform, is the rank withheld until the schooling, or
No, it is effective
Okay.
immediately. I think there again. I don't know how to write a letter from a general to a sergeant informing you that you're now a lieutenant, but it is basically like we have full faith and confidence in you based on your performance. That at the least you should be of the rank of officer, and I hereby promote you to it, subject to, like you have to complete OCS within a calendar year or something like that.
So he would be promoted conditionally, and if he
Yes.
doesn't meet the conditions within that time
I
frame,
believe
he'd
it's
lose.
called brevetting someone, but
Yeah.
Who else has
Rassie,
Who else has seen this message?
Rassie will turn to the others after the scribe leaves and says, "Well, this is
You wait till they leave. Sorry.
I'm waiting for the
yes, they leave
second wave."
immediately. They
Yeah.
they
Okay.
have to continue their programming, which is to wait for the next orders for the Lord Governor.
Okay.
This guy doesn't even know that there isn't a governor anymore.
Well, that's the thing. If they were the only person, I was going to shoot them.
I was going to
well,
suggest something similar to
clearly the telepathica who gave them this message now, but you could shoot this guy if you want to in the back for sure. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like you've got a quick opportunity to pass any further orders you want prior to you having been informed this has changed.
You've got a
the
very small
backdating
window and it's
issue,
closing
yes.
fast.
Yeah. So if this person didn't make it here,
Buffer transition. Yes, I see. Okay, I'm in. This is it. Does Rassie tell Holly, and does Holly take the shot?
Wait,
I
Rassie,
think he waited till the
I
guy
waited till the
leaves,
cipher's gone, so
Okay.
the opportunity to shoot him is gone. Rassie looks to the others and says, "Well, I suppose I have good news and bad news."
It's the same news. I probably say that sarcastically because I don't know what
Corporate
it
asks
is.
you to look at news.
Well, I suppose on the good news side, due to my conduct thus far as the governor, I have been promoted. I am a lieutenant now.
That's not how promotions work. I thought you go from governor to what, sector lord? Not lieutenant.
No, my guardsman rank.
Oh, yes.
We always knew this was a temporary thing. So,
Yes.
That's the
it
bad
appears, it appears that the it appears that the sector lord believes that the things that I was appointed for are now concluded. I'm no longer the governor.
I mean, this is the thing. So this station did not have a governor before. It's had one. If the sector lord has taken it away,
hasn't. It has never had one before Rassie.
Okay, yeah, but he was made it then. So,
Yes.
so the fact that the sector lord has taken it away now either means that he plans to put someone else in the place because he doesn't need you there anymore because someone else is coming in, or he's just tying up loose ends and doesn't want a sector governor running around that has already solved the problem that was had to solve.
AP, can I deduce that maybe there's a connection between the Space Hulk disappearing and the fact that there's no longer a need for Imperial Governor?
Sure, make a logic roll.
Even though I'm sure that no matter what I roll here, I've got 1 fate point. I might as well use it now.
Okay, you're going to use
Advantage.
self-advantage.
Yeah.
It's a strange choice, but okay.
And now I can't re-roll it.
Didn't help you.
No, it did not.
Like I said, that was a strange choice.
Yeah. Hey, figured I'd make this. Now, hopefully, I don't need to make another roll in the next.
At least the
minutes.
advantage turned into less of a failure.
You are third.
Yes.
Sorry, the question was, do you think that there's a relation between the two?
Yeah, trying to draw a connection between the disappearing Space Hulk and the
Sure.
sector
On a
lord saying we
negative
don't need a
one,
governor.
you have a vague suspicion that is correct.
Yeah, you don't know. You can suspect that, basically, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my understanding for the appointment was that there were things to correct, and I guess it has been deemed corrected at this point.
Yeah, you come correct or get corrected. Exactly. That's how it works.
Well, be that as it may, we still have the problem of the disappearing Space Hulk. That is a major factor for the local economy
Right.
that we need to deal with.
You say major factor, but this place is only populated for the purpose of that Hulk.
Yes, and the base of our boss. And speaking of our boss, we need to get a message to the High Lords of Terra. Pronto.
Yeah, and is there any other information you can say about this letter that needs to go to the High Lords of Terra?
I'm sure there's a very specific series of forms that need to be filled out very accurately, as though I am the... Go ahead.
I'm going to be really nice to you, Omar. And what I'm going to say is that we should end the episode here so that your fate pool will reset before you write this letter.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the other question is, how long is it going to take to get to Terra?
Yeah.
Again, that doesn't, like sending the message doesn't matter as long as it's backdated before the event happens. You know what I mean? Some High Lord of Terra is going to read this in 30 years and be like, were all the forms filled out correctly? Head of the administratum. And someone's going to be like, yes, we triple checked and sent a confirmation. Everything was filled out correctly. Do not execute the rogue traitor as a result. Right? Like, we get it. It needs to be done, but it also has to be done on time. It may not arrive now, but when it does arrive, it better come correct, or you will get corrected.
Well, given that when you look at like imperial dates, like the lowest checksum is like plus or minus 100 years.
So we're all on the same page about this.
Yep.
So this is being sent on his behalf, or are we impersonating the rogue trader?
He's asked Velamris to impersonate him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Because I believe this documentation needs to be submitted by him, not necessarily someone acting in his stead.
Well,
Although I'm sure I can find appropriate forms for that as well.
There are people here that can help us work out how to write in his style. So.
Ooh.
There's so much to do, so much to see, decisions to be made, time costs everywhere, sending this message, going to corridor J10, moving the Imperial Guard off of the Space Hulk, even though you no longer have the authority to do so, warning the local public, finding whatever ships you can, and somehow saving the asteroid. All of that is now solidly on your table. Responsibility without power. The opposite
Season 2
of where we've been. This is not season 2. This is the end of season 1. Is the next few episodes. This is the warp transition arc.
I need first off, we've stopped the game now, right? We're still recording to stop the game, yes? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So I need to give absolute props to Arthur. You know, that although he congratulated me on thinking ahead by attempting to ensure that he couldn't pull Rassie out of my seat to try and become the head of the church. Arthur further out thought about saying, "You want to be head of the church? No worries. I'm not going to destroy the planet the church is on."
My whole season, I've been planning to have the Space Hulk leave. So.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm joking.
Did you say that you completed a goal this episode as Holly?
Well, no. I think that because my long-term goal. Well, give me a sec. My goals were. To transport the Wrath of Righteous off, like basically get the Wrath of Righteous in a situation where they could be transported off the Archipelago and sent on crusade, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. I will give you 500 XP for that. Okay. Or you can retire Holly and create a new character.
No, well, that's my short-term goal. My long-term goal is to find permanent employment with the Rogue Trader.
Okay. All right. Well, let me see. Short-term goal is...
I think short-term is 100. Am I right?
Let's see here. $50 XP and choose a new short-term goal.
Okay.
I also completed a short-term goal, and I didn't know it was going to be as easy as it turned out to be.
Yes.
It was to increase a faction influence.
Okay. It's pretty easy to increase faction influence with people under your direct command. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess so, but I didn't. I thought there were going to be hoops for that.
There are not. You picked a good goal, 50 XP.
When we reconvene, because we had that 6-week break, can we do downtime actions as well?
Yep.
AP,
but just to be clear, you've already been given the XP, your salary, all that's paid forward.
Yeah.
But and yes, we can start the next episode with downtime, and then we will jump into the Space Hulk has started ticking down to leave.
Yeah, but did we get XP in...
We did last episode.
For today? No, that's included in all that XP I already gave you.
Okay, cool.
So you gave us...
I have listed in my advancement tracker that last episode we got 50 XP.
Yes,
that's what I have as well.
Yeah, that covers this whole arc right here.
Okay. Can I... All right, so for Velamris' current employment status, he's no longer part of the...
You are now fully owned by the Rogue Trader through your extremely judicious use of... I'm sorry, you're no longer owned by the Administratum through judicious use of your team's personal assets.
Okay.
Now, again, you don't own those assets. You're using them on behalf of the Rogue Trader. You have used them to purchase Velamris, essentially.
This does not count then that I have because my long-term goal was earn my way onto the Rogue Trader's crew or entourage.
I solidly feel like you have completed that. You have no place to go back to. You are owned by the house now. They have traditionally passed your contract to the Rogue Trading House. There's no going back for you.
Okay, so in that case, then that sounds like 500 XP.
That is true.
I'm not going to retire.
You could also retire your character.
I don't want to for a couple of reasons.
Okay. I mean, one thing could be you like playing Velamris.
Well, the other one being that the art and all that other stuff, as mentioned.
Oh, yes, before. I do appreciate that. I don't have to buy more art. Yeah.
I realize I got the big ask there, but I'm going to just ask. Short term, I had in here about learning more about the Space Hulk and what could be found aboard it.
I solidly feel like I don't want to give it to you, but but here's the reason why. I feel like you have earned part of that, and you could even argue you've earned all of it, but it also gives me a good reason to force you to go on the Space Hulk.
No, that's fine. I mean, I want to go on the Space Hulk anyway. It was kind of like a step-by-step process. The first step was learn more about it and figure out why I need to go on there. Well, now I know that.
Okay, then yes, I'll give you 50 for that.
Okay, so that's 550.
Got this guy pulling the billfold out right now.
Listen, I just wanted to make sure that and also now I need more short-term and long-term goals. So
yeah,
I'm
I
going to
feel
change
like
my
the-
short-term goal now to prepare Chaderius's like operation to move from the
That's an
archipelago.
excellent goal. Not technically your job, but definitely a good one to have for sure.
Yeah, if I'm
I
involved in it,
feel
I can
like
shape it.
I feel like as this continues, I get further and further from my long-term goal
Which is
to restore the 143rd, which was
yes,
that was
yes.
supposed to be the
That was your long term from.
it's been from the beginning.
Yeah.
But the step that I tried to take towards that was ordering those Elysian
Replacements.
reinforcements.
Yep.
So that with his goal of being to make good on the agreement that in spirit, the agreement of giving a regiment to the Lord Captain, but also he'd feel good being able to take his being able to have Elysians around, have a regiment.
I want to offer you a couple options there. I think that it's not unreasonable to tempt the Imperial Guard off the station by service, with the rogue trader. The other thing is you could arrange to fake their deaths in a Space Hulk warp accident and just hire them into the your Elysian 143rd. You know what I mean? Like truly BattleTech style Ghost Regiment. You literally are just like, oh no, all 3,000 people died on the Space Hulk. Look at these 3,000 new 143rd drop troopers. I feel like that's a path. You don't even have to get all of them. You can just get the ones you like.
Well, you're just a regiment with no name that just turns up in battles and saves the beleaguered troops and then disappears back into the void again.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think Rassie really has been a by regulation kind of character.
Sure. Let me say this then. I feel like your long-term goal is too difficult to accomplish long-term. It would need to be broken down now. Yeah.
I do like the idea of trying to sell Major Rain on like this task is imminently ending. There are lives and battles that can be fought with the rogue trader. There are lives that can be saved. There are servants who can continue to toil, and there are enemies that you can continue to destroy.
Now, just to be clear,
and try to recruit them as opposed to like.
I mean, they have given oaths. Oaths you have taken, Riders of Rohan. You can't just go and join the corporate military. You know what I mean? Like, they truly need to either be let go or fake their deaths to get into this. Like, a sector lord or a governor would have to order them to join the rogue trader as sort of a trading card deal. They can't just be like, okay, we're going to join the rogue trader. Now, I think that it would not be strange if during an evacuation from a Space Hulk, if they were forced to rebase themselves on a rogue trader's assets and were unable to contact their regular command for a while, if they were to hang out with a rogue trader for resupply and authority until such time that the command structure could be reestablished. That seems normal and reasonable for a while. Plus or minus 100 years, I hear.
Yeah, that sounds much more like something Rassie would be okay with.
Well, you can certainly aim for that. What's Matt Mercer saying? You can certainly try. Any other closing thoughts for this episode in which some of you received a lot of XP? And others received a warning. Even behind these walls, no one is safe from the Titan shifters.
The orcs are in the walls.
The orcs are in the walls.
I
It's
hope
really
people
a different
waiting,
version of Attack on Titan I had not thought of.
I hope viewers that were waiting for Holly to drop some shit were happy with what they got.
Absolute +7 madness. Unreal. Get out of here. Grimdark James and his plots and his plans. My man Ishmael Flag was like, I'm gonna take control of this blue ribbon commission. I'm gonna make myself look good. And Holly's just like, God has chosen me to lead you.
Holly is Joan of Arc all of a sudden.
Oh man, there's going to be some very different conversations with some of these people that I've talked to in the past.
Yeah, they now
It's like-
wildly outrank you.
Yeah, like I want to talk to Major Rain, and I would like to talk to Commodore Sagius. I think I can maybe get a meeting with one. I think it'd be very difficult for me to get a meeting with the other now.
I do have good news for you. You have paid Conrad Varner through the month, and he is a noble.
I was going to ask what's going to happen with Conrad.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you paid him to teach you how to be an Imperial governor. You don't have to be an Imperial governor to learn how to be an Imperial governor. Your relationship with him has not changed.
He just doesn't call you my lord.
Yeah, he just doesn't call you my lord anymore. He insists you call him my lord.
Yeah.
I believe we're out for 2 weeks, and then we're back. Is that correct?
That sounds right.
Let's double check, I believe. So I just want to see if it's this week or next week it starts. 1 sec. Bring up my calendar.
My schedule says it's next week, but I've been wrong constantly.
So what's coming up this? No, I'm good. I'm good next week. It's
Okay.
the week after.
My schedule.
So Sunday the 4th, I'm flying to Perth.
Yes, that's it says no James for me there on Sunday the 4th.
Okay.
I'm looking too far ahead. I missed the 28th, huh? Nope, 28th still says no James here for me.
Oh, okay.
If you say you're good, I will remove that.
Let me okay, let me see my work calendar. It might be a work. I'm looking at my personal calendar. It might be a work calendar thing. 1 sec.
Well, on the good side, Rassie.
No, sorry, yeah, no, I do. I have a meeting with IC Technology in Control, so yeah, okay.
So no next week?
Yeah, no, not next 2 weeks.
Okay.
It appears that Rassie has survived a terrifying temporary appointment to governor.
Man, we
You
fought
used
hard to
it
get
well.
that damn thing too.
Rassie was committed to not just throwing corruption around willy-nilly with the position.
Velamris just wanted to pretend to be somebody's arch militant.
I mean,
Well, you got to for a little bit, I guess.
I did.
you got to do it in one meeting. Yeah.
No, I did it
One
twice.
prayer meeting.
Although one of those meetings, it was more of I got to be at the bodyguard, and then I had to go and learn how to, or test that I knew how to be a paper pusher.
That Life Gives You Lemon sermon, by the way, is a Warhammer 40K meme for anyone that hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
I am glad that he did not go through that 12-hour ceremony with the administratum.
Amazing. All right. Let's hope that this recording has gone well. I'm going to go staple it all together. Friends, it's been a session. Some wild stuff happened. We're now in the final arc of Season 1. And when that ends, we'll no longer be Warhammer 40K Iron Archipelago. We'll be named for wherever we're going to next. In the next branch of Imperium Maledictum. If we're to believe some random witch on the edge of space that a Space Hulk that has been truly stable for a long time is just going to randomly disappear. Would I do that to you guys?
Absolutely.
How much do you trust me?
Oh god, the worst is going to be we do this mass evacuation and nothing happens. We somehow, through ridiculous and unlikely rolls, pull all of this shit off just to be like, oh well, sorry about that, guys.
Got egg in your face. All right. Have a good night or day, everyone at home.